Well, good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic here from the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. My name is Mike Avery, hence the title Behind the Mic. Mike behind the mic. In fact, how are you this morning? On an absolutely beautiful Wednesday morning. You might want to close that, Pat, because you know what's going to happen. Anyway, how are you, my friends? As we continue to work our way through this summer, what is it, pushing the middle of August now? Not quite. Next week will be the middle of August. Good morning, Cliff. Always a pleasure. How are you this morning? Brian. Hello, Craig. Craig Plowman, my buddy, who has set the new standard for fishing with me by bringing me cigars. Good cigars, in fact. Hey, Jen, how are you? Speaking of good things, here in the studio this morning, what have I got? I have Michigan brand. I've got the honey barbecue. Where is it? Honey barbecue and the garlic. I'll go with the honey barbecue. Johnny, I thought you weren't going to make it, buddy. Jim, good morning. Hey, Cap, how are you? Ted? Good morning, Terry. Rick? Jerry? Dave, how are you, Dave? Haven't talked to you for a while. Kevin, Davina, who's with us all the time. Davina, appreciate that. So, what is going on in the outdoors right now? Right back at you, Cap. Robert, good morning. Davina's the first to ask. Mike, what day is it? It's hump day. Hey, Daryl, I'll see you in a few days. I know the cool temps are nice, aren't they? Johnny's just getting ready to head out in the woods. Johnny sent me a picture of one of the first bears to come into his baits. It's a nice bear. The bear that's coming into Tony Sovi's bait is about 130 pounds, but that's probably the biggest one that Tony's going to see. Just saying. Paul says it's comfortable in hell this morning. Hey, Ross, how are you? Yeah, I haven't even I have. I've started getting my stuff around. I actually shot my dart and crossbow yesterday to make sure it's dialed in. It is. But Ross, as you and I both know, up there in Ontario, you're what, 15 yards from the bait? The one that I'm probably going to be on, I think, is about 12 yards. Hey, good morning, Facebook user. How are you? Hold on, Captain. Are you telling me that my good friend Lance Valentine goes live Wednesday mornings to compete with my Behind the Mic? I am going to send him a quick text. Lance, I just heard you are live right now too, competing with me. What? Just kidding. There. Tim, I appreciate you choosing me over Lance. Good morning, Hunter Joe. How are you? Brandon said something about Lake St. Clair. The muskies, bass, and walleye still hot on Lake St. Clair. Canadian side, the best. Morning, Mike. How are you? Kenny checking in from Jay's Sporting Goods. Kenny, do you have any rec expandable broadheads? I realized I need to replenish my supply and would like to stop by, although I might have to run up to Claire and get them. Mike is on the show this week. I'm in a weird situation right now because I doubled up on shows this week. So the show I'm recording right now actually airs the weekend of the 20th. I've already recorded the show for this weekend. Yes, you will, Johnny. Ed says he's got Rex. Good morning, Eddie. How are you? Kenny says he'll check. Yeah, Tony will get a bear. Mad Jack, all is well. How are you? Tony will get a bear hunting with Johnny, but it'll be a smaller bear because I have the prime spot. I'm just saying. So the show that I recorded here in the studio Monday features Mike Natkowski, Matt Taggart of Rec Broadheads, Dave Engel of Best Chance 2 Charters, Nick Green of MUCC, and Amy Trotter of MUCC. The show that I'm here to record now will feature Tim Roller, Jason Karstens, and Bill Hahn of J Sporting Goods. So again, it's kind of weird when I do these time shifting. Hello, Ed. How are you? Bill said fishing's good on Spider Lake. Good morning, Sean. Good morning, David. Checking in from Oscoda. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining me on this edition of Behind the Mic. I will be back here tonight, 7 o'clock, for another. He'll have a teddy bear. He'll have Boo Boo. I was hoping Tony would be on here this morning, Johnny, but I haven't seen him yet. So listen, did you see that the judge has granted, and I'm not going to try to put this in technical or legal terms because I'm not a lawyer. I leave that to my daughter. The judge granted MUCC, the Michigan Charter Captains Association, Hammond Bay Anglers, and one other group. He granted them, I believe, status to be involved. Thank you, Kenny. But you're not going to open until 10 Sunday. I'm going to go through there earlier than 10. Maybe not. Ray Bay checking in from the Eastern UP. Ed's getting ready for bear season, bear hunting. He's going to be in White River with us. The judge, I think, I don't know, it's on the Facebook page. We're making some progress. It appears that the DNR and the state of Michigan, from what I'm hearing from people in the know, that they want to sell us out to the tribes with this consent decree negotiations. Lance said, sorry, forgot. Morning charter had to cancel, so I was driving home. Plus, I could never compete with you. That's not true, buddy. I'm glad. Hey, Jason. Jason's going to be a radio star this morning. Good morning, Dan. So I am glad that MUCC and those three other groups are getting involved to try to give us sport fishermen a say in these negotiations, because everything I'm hearing sounds like the state and the DNR are about ready to sell us out. And this is a big deal because these regulations will be in place. Well, once they go into place, they're never going to get changed. You know that, right? How are things in Rock, Marty? Good morning. So read the piece on MUCC's Facebook page, or right here on my Facebook page if you're on my Facebook page. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I'm not real pleased with what I'm hearing as far as how those, for one thing, when they go on that long, you know, it's not good, right? So we'll see. I took the dart and crossbow out yesterday to do some shooting to get ready for the bear hunt. As I was saying, my bait will probably only be, thank you, Johnny. If I remember right, I think I may have been able to push it back to like 16 yards, but I mean, it's tight. It's really tight in there. No, John, haven't heard a thing. What are they trying to give the tribes now? More access to our sport fishery than what they currently have. And these negotiations only come up every 20 years. But like I was saying, once that door is opened, you know it'll never get closed again. So it's a big deal. I'm glad that we're seeing something positive. It's not a victory. There's a long way to go, but it's a step in the right direction. Anyway, I was shooting the dart and crossbow yesterday. At that distance, I mean, it's not like I'm making a 60-yard shot on a Western mule deer. I'm making a 12 to 15-yard shot on a black bear. And as I have been saying, and this is going to sound weird, I'm not going to White River this year with the intent of shooting a bear. I went up there last year fully intending to shoot a bear because I hadn't been bear hunting in 2 years and my freezer had no bear meat in it. So I went up there to shoot a bear last year. This year I have 2 hunts, one in White River and one in Michigan with Johnny Bowler. I really want to shoot a bear in Michigan with that 350 Legend. So I'm going up there primarily to White River to enjoy the experience, see my friends, have some interaction, close encounters with bears, get some good video. And if a very special bear walks in front of me, I would shoot it. But it would have to be a special bear. It'd have to be it'd have to be a big black colored bear or a respectable color bear. And again, it's not a phase. It's not a color phase. They don't switch from black to blonde to cinnamon. They are that color. So it's not a color phase. People say, I shot a color phase bear. Well, what phase was he last year? He was the same color last year as he was this year. So it's not a phase. I hear you, Davina. So what else here? Like I said, I'm working from 2 different lists. Isn't it nice to have the cooler weather? Pat told me it was going to be cool. He was right. Are the bears bigger in Canada? Yes and no. I would say in general, the bears I've seen in Canada have been bigger than the bears I've seen in Michigan. But I can't make a statement that the bears in Canada are bigger than Michigan. Do I think the extended walleye season next year will really increase perch population? Isn't that the $64,000 question, Cap? That's why we have a 13-inch size limit and an 8-fish limit to try to knock down the walleye population on Saginaw Bay, in part to help the perch population. You've only got so much bait fish out there. Speaking of bait fish, I was very pleased with the amount of bait fish I was marking on Saginaw Bay this summer. And over on Lake Michigan, the folks over there say they're marking schools of bait fish like the old days, to the point where earlier in the summer, alewives were washing up on the shores, on the beaches. That's a big deal. That's a good deal. It's beautiful down here too, Ed. Ed, look forward to seeing you in White River, by the way. I think this will be Ed's first trip with us. I think it's my 15th. Maybe 14th. I would dare to say I've been going up there as long as anybody with this new operation with Pete Jones and then Ron St. Louis. Ron is usually on here with us, but I'm pretty sure he's out running baits this morning. Pretty sure. If you have bear pictures, by the way, I love seeing bear pictures. If you've got bear pictures, trail cam pictures of bears on your baits, and you want to share them, please do. Because it's always fun to talk about how big that bear is, what's the size of that bear actually, because it can be very hard to judge the size of a bear. I did post one the other day, which to me was a boar. He had long legs. He looked like a boar. But how do you really know, right? Since this is the first time this summer where I have been back in the studio and not fished the previous week. I have not been on the water the last week. I was actually getting a little bit, I don't want to say tired of it. I don't want to say sick of it. Hey, Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand Meats. This morning we have the garlic hunter sticks and we have the honey barbecue hunter sticks. And Nick, I will tell you, I like them both, but my favorite, let me bring Nick up here, is this one right here, the honey barbecue. I like these a lot. Do I like them as much as the Avery hunter sticks? No, but I like them a lot. Nick was up there this spring. By the way, if you want to see a cool video from White River on what bear hunting up there looks like, check out Nick Grillo's YouTube channel. He put it on Facebook too. Nick did a wonderful job, a lot of drone video, remote camera stuff of a cinnamon color bear he shot up there this spring. So I'm pretty jazzed about it, pretty geeked about it. Looking forward to getting back up there. It's always fun. And then, Johnny, I don't, Steve, I appreciate that. But like I said, I'm I'm going up there to go bear hunting, but I'm not necessarily going up there to shoot a bear. Now, when I hunt with Johnny at Seney, things change. Tonight on Wednesday Night Live, by the way, I'm going to give you another look at that Brenton USA 350 Legend. The last time you saw that was when we did a Wednesday Night Live at the Brenton shop in Lansing. I have not had it out to shoot it yet. I've been busy fishing. Now I'm going to be busy. Yeah. What phase was Nick's bear? His was a cinnamon phase. Been busy fishing. Now I'm going bear hunting in Ontario. As soon as I get back, one of my main goals is to get that 350 Legend out on the range, spend some quality time with it, get it broken in, get it sighted in, and get it ready to rock. My grandson Carter is going to use it. I just, Mad Jack, I saw your, let me check it here. Let me see if I can come up with it. I can't see it, Mad Jack. Carter's going to use that 350 Legend for the youth hunt. I don't know if he knows that yet or not. I think we talked about it. Good morning, Joe. How are you? How are things in God's country in northern Michigan? Still waiting on another list, Joe. Hopefully pretty soon. Roger checking in from Columbiaville. Joe, I'm getting ready to head to White River, Ontario on a bear hunt. And then tonight, we're going to take a quick look, not in depth, because I'm going to be sitting at my desk in my office, but I'm going to hold up that Brenton 350 Legend for you to take another look at. Now, we'll see. I've been able to get away with it. Some people tell me whenever they show a gun on their Facebook page, it gets hidden. I've had some pretty good luck. We've done a lot of things with guns. I've done them holding guns, handguns, and I've never had a problem. Knock on whatever this is right here. We'll try it. Roger says he's watching deer in a food plot. That's a good thing to do. My son James says he's working on getting some food plots into our lease property. Any word on the new Angler Quest? People keep asking me. No word on it. But you know what? At this point, it doesn't matter. I had a wonderful summer running that prototype. I don't know the status of it. I really don't. Tim says he got the 6.5 Grendel. It was a toss-up between that and the 350. I think you'll be very happy with that, Tim. Just like I think I'll be very happy with my 350 Legend. I got it as a multi-purpose gun. I got it because it'll take a bear, because it'll take a coyote, because it'll take a deer. Is it the perfect gun for bear? No, in my opinion, the perfect gun for bear is a 12-gauge slug gun. And of course, all the experts on Facebook, oh, that's not the best. That's not the best gun for bear hunting. I do not expect that 350 Legend will put a bear down any faster than what I've been able to do with a broadhead. In fact, if you want to talk about two ends of the spectrum, the closest I've ever seen a bear die to the bait was one that I shot with a broadhead out of a recurve 3 or 4 years ago in White River. I saw that animal. I didn't see it die. I saw it go over a ridge 20 yards away, and I saw it move some saplings. Raver Bay says a 30 cal. Can't argue with that, Raver Bay, but I bet you can't argue too hard against a 12-gauge slug gun either. Good morning, Patrick. How are you? In a couple of minutes here, I'm going to change gears. I'm going to go from my behind the mic to recording this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. Now, when I do that, you're going to get confused, and I'm going to try to keep from confusing myself because, bow hunting, bears over bait are made for bow hunting. There's just no doubt about it. Anyway, when I start to record the radio show, it's going to be confusing because right now I've been talking about things real time. When I start to record the radio show, I'm moving things out 10 days into the future. So you're going to say, well, that doesn't make any sense, Avery. Why are you talking about that? Because we're doing some time shifting in the studio this morning. And it's Nick says his wreck broadhead 40 yards. Wasn't a pass through either. Mine wasn't either, Nick. That's a good point. the one I shot with my recurve, as you would expect, was not a pass-through. And still died close. Nick, I want to eat this so bad, but if I start to eat this right now, my mouth will be watering and I won't be able to talk. So I'm going to hang on to this for a few minutes till the break. Yes. And you thought time travel was something in the future. We're doing time travel right now. It's called time shifting. Very good point, Tim. Very good point. This is a high-tech operation you're watching here. Okay, so I'm going to start talking about some things here in probably a minute and a half for next week's radio show, for the show that airs the 20th. So it's going to sound weird to you. When we come back tonight for Wednesday Night Live at 7 o'clock, that'll be real time again. We'll bring it back to the present. We'll get away from the future and bring it back to the present. I got pretty tan this summer, didn't I? Hey, Jay, how are you? I'm like Marty McFly. I'm a lot like Marty McFly. In fact, when I look in the mirror, I see Marty McFly. Minute. Yeah, Charlie, there for you.
Wow, thank you.
Nick Grillo's on with us right now. I will be curious which one you like, the garlic or the honey barbecue. I like the honey barbecue. Good point, Cliff. When I get into the future, get the lotto numbers. I will do that for you, Cliff, and I'll post them here on my Facebook page. 30 seconds. What else? It's a beautiful day out. I hope you have a chance to get out and enjoy it. I will be in the studio much of the day, recording the radio show, and then this month's Angler Quest podcast with Jason Karstens of True North Guide Service, by the way. I'm double dipping today. Got him on the radio show and the podcast. One blast off. See, I'm proving it. This is what we're hearing. All right, my friends, have a great day. Enjoy the weather. Again, I'm going to do some time shifting here, so it's going to get weird. Believe me, it's weird for me, too, to try to keep track of it. Charlie Root in the studio with me now. Can I put a flux capacitor on the Angler Quest? Yes, I can, Craig. And the defibrillator rotator. I got one of those coming, too. Brand meats. Now, here's Mike Avery. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show right here on the Outdoor Magazine radio network, heard on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. How are you? How is your world? How is your outdoor world? What have you done since we last talked here on the radio show? I find myself in kind of a weird situation this week because I'm doing some time shifting. I don't like to do this, but occasionally I find myself in this situation. And usually when it happens, it's to cover myself or prepare for some kind of a hunting trip. So right now I'm in the studio recording the radio show that airs the weekend of the 20th. So in real time, I have not left for Ontario yet. But as you're hearing this show, I'll be back from Ontario. How did I do? Did I shoot a bear? You tell me. You'll know by then. If you go to my Facebook page or YouTube channel or Instagram or Twitter, Mike Avery Outdoors or Avery Outdoors on all of those, you'll know how it went. I went to Ontario not with the intent of shooting a bear. I told you that last week, and it sounds kind of strange, doesn't it? I went to Ontario to bear hunt. Is there a difference? In my mind, there is. I went to Ontario with the intent of seeing some good friends up there, of seeing some beautiful countryside, of having some interaction up close and personal with bears, getting some good video of bears, and maybe if the right critter walked in front of me, shooting it. And the right critter would have to be a pretty good size, black colored black bear, or a respectable cinnamon or brown or blondish black bear. We talked about this before. It's not a phase. They don't go through a phase. That is the color they are. In preparation for heading to Ontario, and I am hunting, I did hunt with my Darton crossbow, my Toxin 100 crossbow. And it's been kind of an evolution for me in archery the last few years. I'll be honest, I haven't hunted with a compound in many years. I used to hunt exclusively with a compound. I loved it. I find them to be very effective. I find them to be challenging, to be proficient. You have to practice a lot with them. There's a lot of, if you want, there's a lot of gadgets and jiggers and all that kind of stuff on there, a lot of gear that you can put on those things. When I got away from a compound, I actually picked up a recurve. I went back to a recurve. Now, I think that a recurve, or traditional archery in general, is the most beautiful, basic, pure, instinctive form of archery. I loved hunting with that recurve. I found it to be very challenging. And I was fortunate over the years to take a turkey with a recurve. I took a bear with a recurve. Never did take a deer with a recurve. Never did. But the thing about traditional archery is you have to be dedicated to it. You have to shoot a lot, shoot often. In my mind, it was to be proficient enough to know that you have a good chance. That's not a good way to put it. To know that when I let an arrow fly, I was going to make a quick, clean, humane killing shot. I figure that we owe the critters that we're hunting. We owe that to them. And as responsible and ethical hunters, I think the vast majority of us feel that way. In the first year or so I hunted with it, I shot it a lot and I felt very good about it. But towards the end of the last season, I'm like, man, do I really feel competent and comfortable letting an arrow fly out of this recurve? And the answer was no. I thought, okay, Avery, as much as you like hunting with a recurve, if you can't make that commitment in your mind, what are you doing in the woods with a recurve? And I wish more people would think about that. Whatever it is that you're using, whatever tool you're using to hunt with, if you don't feel good about it, either practice more so you do feel good about it, or switch tools to make it easier. That's what I did. I went back to a crossbow. Now, that was quite a jump to go from a recurve to a crossbow. The recurve shooting, 175, 200 feet per second with a maximum distance of 20 yards for me for an effective shot, to a crossbow that shoots 330 feet per second and I can hit the bullseye on a target at 80 yards. Not that I would shoot an animal that far. But I went back to a crossbow. Now, I find crossbows to be a very, very interesting tool. I first started shooting a crossbow when they were made legal for all hunters in Michigan several years ago. And people started coming out of the woodwork saying, oh, they're a poacher's tool. You're going to wound all these animals, yada, yada, yada. And I thought, you know what? I need to be knowledgeable enough about crossbows to talk about them. So I started using them and I fell in love with them. In my mind, they are an archery tool because they shoot an arrow tipped with a broadhead. And for the most part, they are a one-shot tool. There is some goofy crossbow out there that allows you to shoot back-to-back shots, but I put that on the fringe. Is it easier to shoot a crossbow accurately? Absolutely. Is it easier because you don't have to draw the bow in the presence of the animal? Absolutely. Absolutely. Are you shooting a faster arrow? Yes. Is it a flatter trajectory? To a point. But you get out at longer distances and that big old heavy arrow, you can call it a bolt if you want. I'm going to call it an arrow, drops. If you look up bolt, a bolt is actually a very short, it almost looks like a dart. I'm trying to think of the actual definition. But you can call a crossbow arrow an arrow and be accurate in that description. So that is my tool of choice these days. You notice I don't say weapon? Because in my mind, whether it's a bow or a gun or a knife, it can be a tool or it can be a weapon. I choose to think of it as tools to harvest animals, or at least go out in the woods and think about harvesting animals. But I get real upset with the archery purists who look down on people who shoot crossbows. I think that is a very short-sighted vision. In our world today, when we need to encourage as many people as possible to get involved in our lifestyle, in our way of life, in our passion of hunting, any tool that allows somebody to get out in the woods and be more proficient, in my opinion, should be looked on favorably. Oh, you're taking the easy way out. Is there something wrong with that? Like in my case, when I realized that I wasn't putting the time into shooting my recurve, and I realized that and decided, okay, what tool can I maximize my time and my efficiency and my effectiveness? Is that bad? Oh, you're wounding animals. No more than anything else. An ethical hunter knows what his distance is, his effective range. He knows what the ethical shot is. And you take a small percentage of hunters who are unethical, because a small percentage of people are unethical. It's not going to matter if they're shooting a gun, a crossbow, a recurve, a compound, or whatever. So it's not the tool. It's not the bow. It's a poacher's tool. No, it's not. Who in their right mind would poach deer with a crossbow? I can't even take that one seriously. A true poacher is going to take a 22 mag in the middle of the night with a spotlight. They're not out there with a crossbow. Oh, I just think we should embrace, within reason, right? I mean, we're always going to have this, is an air bow a bow? Is a crossbow that shoots multiple projectiles? We're always going to have this conversation about what is too much. And I think the way crossbows have been accepted and embraced, and you will find some people who go to a crossbow and don't like it, and they go back to a compound or even a recurve like I did. But whatever the tool is that will keep you in the outdoors, allow you to be proficient and productive and effective and confident, I say go for it. As long as it's legal, go for it. Now, you will be able, as I say, as you're hearing this show, I am back from Ontario. If you want to see how I did, check out my Facebook page, my YouTube channel, Twitter feed, Instagram. I'll be posting stuff. You'll know. Coming up on this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show, we're going to talk about casting crankbaits for king salmon in the rivers. This is the time of year to do that with Tim Roller. In our second hour, Jason Karstens of True North Guide Service in the Sioux talks about targeting Atlantic salmon in the St. Mary's. We'll check in with a couple of folks from the DNR this week's Ask Avery segment. In our third hour, Bill Hahn of Jay's Sporting Goods helps us get ready for the hunting season. What's hot, what's new, what's cool, what's legit, what's all hype. And, of course, we'll wrap it up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dave Miner. Dixie Dave Miner. That's coming up this week right here on Outdoor Magazine. It's a poacher's tool. Maybe you should go back under the rock you just crawled out from under. All right, my friends. I got to go to work now, so I'm going to stop this live feed. But I will be back here tonight at 7 o'clock for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. I think tonight, after Wednesday Night Live, I'm going to start a segment. And we're going to call it After WNL. And I want you to post your pictures, what you're doing after Wednesday Night Live. And I'll kick it off. I'll be drinking a bourbon, smoking a cigar on my patio. I want to see what you're doing. All right, my friends, have a great day. My email address, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. Do not hesitate to reach out. Enjoy the weather. Have a great day.